What would you do if you walked into Chicago's most exclusive restaurant for your 15th anniversary dinner, only to be ignored, lied to, and told you couldn't afford to eat there? But what the staff at the Golden Table didn't know was that they had just humiliated a world-renowned surgeon and a top attorney whose friend happened to own the very restaurant that was about to become the stage for the most devastating reckoning they'd ever witnessed. If you love interesting stories like this that expose the truth, please give this video a thumbs up. And tell us in the comment section where in the world you are watching this video. And also do well to smash that subscribe button. It was supposed to be a perfect night, a celebration, an anniversary dinner at the most expensive restaurant in town. But what started as a romantic evening turned into something nobody expected. Dr. Marcus Williams stepped through the glass doors of the Golden Table with his wife Keisha by his side. The restaurant was beautiful, soft lighting, crystal glasses, and white flowers on every table. Marcus was a surgeon, tall and confident in his dark suit. Keisha, a lawyer, looked stunning in her burgundy dress. They had been married for 15 years, and tonight was special. Their friend Robert Martinez had invited them here. Robert owned the restaurant and wanted to thank Marcus for saving his daughter's life during a difficult surgery. "Let me treat you right," Robert had said. "Table 12 is waiting for you." But when they walked up to the front desk, something felt wrong. "Reservation for Williams," Keisha said with a smile to the young hostess. The blonde woman looked at her computer screen, then back at them. Her smile seemed fake. "I'm sorry, I don't see any Williams here." "Robert Martinez made the reservation himself," Marcus said calmly. "Table 12. The hostess laughed a little. "Oh, Mr. Martinez doesn't usually handle bookings. Maybe it was for another night." Keisha looked toward table 12. It was empty, perfectly set with fresh flowers and clean glasses. Before she could speak, another worker appeared, a young waiter named Brad. "We can seat you over here," Brad said, pointing to a dark corner near the kitchen doors. "It's quieter." The table was hidden away where no one could see them. It wasn't the celebration table they had reserved. It was the table for people who weren't supposed to matter. Marcus and Keisha looked at each other. Without saying a word, they followed Brad to the corner table. They sat down and waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. No water. No menus. Just stares from the restaurant staff, like they were trying to figure out if these guests belonged here at all. "This isn't an accident," Keisha whispered to her husband. "They're doing this on purpose." Marcus looked around the room. Other guests were being served, laughing, enjoying their expensive meals. "Let's see how far they'll go," he said quietly. 30 minutes. That's how long they sat there, invisible in plain sight. The Golden Table hadn't just forgotten them. It was pretending they didn't exist. Finally, Marcus raised his hand when Brad walked by. The waiter kept walking like he didn't see him. When Brad passed again, Marcus spoke up. "Excuse me." Brad stopped and turned around. "Yes. We've been here for 30 minutes, Marcus said. "No water, no menus, no service." Brad blinked, pretending to be confused. "Oh wow, really? I didn't realize you were waiting." Keisha's voice got sharp. "Are we invisible or just not important enough?" Brad looked around nervously. "I'll check with someone." He disappeared. Then the floor manager appeared. Her name was Sarah Thompson, a thin woman with blonde hair pulled back tight. She smiled, but it wasn't a real smile. "Good evening," Sarah said. "I'm sorry for the confusion, but we're going to need this table. It's reserved for another party." Keisha raised an eyebrow. "That's interesting, since we reserved this table 2 weeks ago." "That's not what we have on file," Sarah said. "We were invited personally by Robert Martinez," Marcus said calmly. Sarah's face twitched. "Well, Mr. Martinez doesn't usually manage bookings himself. Maybe there's been a mistake. Keisha leaned forward. A mistake? Or a judgment? I'm sorry. Sarah blinked. You looked at us, Keisha said slowly, and decided we didn't belong here. So you stole, you avoided us, and now you're lying. That's a serious accusation, Sarah said tightly. Please don't raise your voice. Keisha hadn't raised her voice. We ordered food 15 minutes ago, Marcus added. From Brad. I don't believe that's accurate, Sarah said. I've spoken to Brad. He says he's never seen you before. That hit like a punch. But then something unexpected happened. A man at a nearby table raised his hand. Sorry to interrupt, he said, but I saw the order. The waiter with the ponytail took their order before mine, and I already got my food. Sarah's face went pale for a second, but she pulled herself together. I'll double check, she said and walked away quickly. Brad was nowhere to be seen. Keisha's hands were shaking slightly under the table. This is how they hurt us, she whispered, by pretending we never existed. Marcus watched the staff whispering across the room. Other guests were starting to notice something was wrong. They picked the wrong couple to mess with, he said quietly. The air in the restaurant changed. People were staring now, trying to figure out what was happening. Sarah came back with Brad trailing behind her like a scared child. I spoke with Brad again, Sarah said. He confirms he didn't take any order from you. Marcus raised an eyebrow. So I imagine ordering the salmon and soup. I don't think you're being honest, sir, Brad stammered. Keisha leaned forward. You're calling my husband a liar. Brad shifted nervously. Maybe it was another waiter. Maybe someone else. Keisha blinked slowly. Another black couple wearing nice clothes sitting in your restaurant who also mistook you for someone else. Brad froze. Then Sarah stepped in, her voice getting louder. Look, we don't want to cause a scene, but if you can't prove you ordered anything. Marcus laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. You mean prove we exist? Sarah straightened up. Sal, if you can't afford to dine here, that's nothing to be ashamed of. But please don't make this uncomfortable. There it was, the real truth. Keisha's chest creaked as she stood up. I beg your pardon. Keisha, Marcus said softly, trying to calm her. No, Keisha snapped, her voice now cutting through the whole restaurant. I want her to say it again. To my face. Sarah looked shocked. There's no need to twist my words. You just told two professionals who were invited by your boss to leave because you thought we couldn't pay. You lied. Your waiter lied. And now you're trying to make us the problem. Marcus stood up too, slowly and controlled. I'm going to ask you one more time, he said to Brad. Did you take our order or not? Brad looked around the room. Everyone was watching now. Some people had their phones out, recording. There was no hiding anymore. I think I might have made a mistake, Brad whispered. A mistake. Keisha said, you made us disappear, and now it's just an oops. Sarah jumped in again. Fine. You want your dinner. The kitchen will rush it for free. But we have another party coming for this table in 10 minutes. Keisha laughed, loud and bitter. So now we're good enough for your chef, but still not welcome to sit. It's our anniversary, Marcus said. We've waited an hour and a half. I'll see if I can seat you somewhere else, Sarah muttered, already backing away. Keisha crossed her arms. You mean another table in the shadows? No thanks. Sarah forced a smile. I'm afraid we're fully booked. Of course you are, Marcus said quietly. Keisha's phone buzzed. She looked down at the message, then showed it to Marcus. He nodded once. Let's not waste another minute here, she said. They want us gone. Let them taste what arrogance costs. As they turned to leave, Sarah called out, if you'd like your food to go, we can package it. You'll just need to wait outside. Keisha didn't look back. Put it where you put our dignity, in the trash. And just like that, they walked out. But justice was coming. The cool night air hit them like freedom. Keisha took a deep breath, standing outside the glass doors of the golden table. Behind them, the restaurant glowed like a stage where a play had just gone wrong. "Let's get street tacos," she said softly. Marcus smiled. "From that corner stand on Madison Street." She nodded. "Just like our 3rd anniversary. The rain, the broken umbrella, your white dress soaked through." He remembered. "That dress never recovered," she said, "but we laughed the whole time." Marcus reached for her hand. "It's not about the fancy food. It never was." But just as they started walking, a black car pulled up. The driver got out and opened the door. Robert Martinez stepped out. Not dressed fancy tonight, just jeans and a leather jacket. His face was already worried. He saw them immediately and walked over fast. "Marcus, Keisha," he said, his voice strained. "What happened?" Keisha just folded her arms. Marcus looked Robert in the eye. "You invited us." "I did invite you," Robert said quickly. "I made that reservation myself. Table 12. I even left a note." Keisha's laugh was short and bitter. "She saw your note all right, and decided to ignore it." Robert ran his hand through his hair. "I got stuck across town. I thought. You thought what?" Marcus cut in. "That we'd be treated like people without you there to protect us." "I didn't know," Robert said. "You should have," Keisha snapped. "You hired them." Robert looked up at the restaurant windows. Inside, people were still eating like nothing had happened. His jaw got tight. "Wait here," he said. He turned and stormed inside. Marcus and Keisha followed, not because they wanted to, but because something in Robert's walk said, "Watch what happens next." Inside, the restaurant went quiet the moment Robert entered. He didn't look for Sarah. He didn't ask for Brad. He just stood in the middle of the dining room and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I want to know right now who turned away Dr. Marcus Williams and attorney Keisha Williams from table 12, the table I personally reserved for them 2 weeks ago." Silence. Then movement. Sarah appeared from the back, looking like she was walking to her own funeral. Brad followed behind another worker who was whispering urgently. Robert turned slowly. "Sarah, explain." Her voice shook. There must have been some mix-up in the system. "I didn't see the reservation note." "You lied to them," Robert said, stepping forward. "You dismissed them. You accused them of lying. And now you're standing here pretending it was a computer error." "Mr. Martinez, I didn't think." "No, you didn't think. That's the problem." He turned to Brad. "And you took their order, then said you'd never seen them. That's not a mistake. That's a choice." The silence that followed was deafening. Dinah stared. Some looked down in shame. Others held up their phones. Robert's voice dropped but somehow hit harder. "You embarrassed my restaurant. You insulted my guests. You destroyed everything I've tried to build here. Sarah, you're fired. Brad, turn in your apron." Sarah's eyes went wide. "You're firing me over this." "Over this?" Robert repeated. "You mean over the fact that you humiliated 2 respected professionals because you didn't like how they looked?" "Yes, over this." Marcus didn't smile. Keisha didn't celebrate. They just stood there, because this wasn't victory. This was just truth finally being told. For a long moment, the golden table was frozen in silence so thick it stopped even the music. Conversations died. Guests who had spent the evening pretending not to see were now forced to look at everything they'd ignored. Keisha didn't blink. She wasn't looking at Sarah or even at Brad, who looked like he might collapse from shame. She was looking at the room itself, at the walls, the chandeliers, the polished image that had just revealed the rut underneath. Robert stood in the center of the dining room looking like the floor might collapse under his feet. But he didn't run. He owned it. "I built this place to represent something," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "Class, community, excellence that wasn't just about money, but about how we treat each other. And somehow, this disgrace happened under my watch." Sarah tried to speak, but no words came. Brad had already disappeared behind the bar. Keisha stepped forward slowly. Her heels echoed across the wood floor like drum beats. "We didn't come here to be special," she said. "We didn't ask for extra treatment or free wine or applause. We just wanted what every guest gets when they walk through that door, to be treated like we belong." Her voice didn't shake. It rang with calm anger, the kind that came not from surprise, but from knowing this would happen. Instead, she continued, "We were erased, lied to, made to question our own reality until someone else vouched for our humanity." Marcus didn't interrupt. He let her speak because this wasn't just a statement. This was a reckoning. "And now," she said quieter, "you want to fix it with a free table and a rushed meal." Robert took a breath. No, I don't. You're right. This is bigger than that. I can't undo what happened, but I can stop making it right." He gestured to table 12, still untouched, two perfect wine glasses gleaming under the soft light. "Please," he said gently, "allow me the chance to save you the way I should have from the beginning." But Marcus shook his head. "You can't save us dignity. That was supposed to be here when we warped in." The room held its breath. Robert looked away, jaw tight. The truth had landed hard. Keisha adjusted her coat. "You asked us here tonight to celebrate love, but the only thing this room showed us was suspicion. We didn't lose our appetite. We lost our trust." Marcus turned to Robert. "Change your culture, Robert, not your wine list." "I will," Robert said quietly. "I swear to you, I will." He didn't try to stop them. He didn't reach out. He simply nodded as the Williams turned and walked out, tall, proud, untouched by the poison they had just exposed. As they stepped outside, the air was crisp and honest. The door clicked shut behind them, leaving the golden table flickering behind the glass like a picture of a place still deciding what it believed in. At the curb, Marcus pulled out his phone and called a ride. "Corner of Madison and Oak." Keisha asked with a half-smile. Marcus chuckled. "The taco stand better still be open." "It better be," she said. "They don't ask how much money's in your wallet, just whether you want extra sauce or not." As the car approached, Keisha glanced over her shoulder. The restaurant gleamed behind the window like a stage where something real had finally broken through the script. Marcus opened the car door for her. "After all that," he said softly, "I still got to spend the evening with you." Keisha slipped into the car with grace, "And I still got to wear my favorite dress. So technically, it's still a good anniversary." They drove off hand in hand, faces lit only by passing streetlights and the soft glow of their own quiet triumph. They didn't need the fancy table. They were the table. And tonight, they had just taught a whole room what it meant to earn a seat at it. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to disappear. Sometimes dignity isn't something you're given. It's something you carry with you, no matter where you go. The Williams knew that. And now, so did everyone else.